from KTTC. This is NewsCenter at 6.
Good evening. I'm Caitlin Alexander. Tom Overly is on assignment. We are still working on cleanup efforts after the massive snowstorm this weekend, and more snow is on the way this week. In just a little bit, Chief Meteorologist Matt Benz will give us an update on what we can expect tonight and the rest of the week. Last night, Barrett Leone showed us 2 snow-affected cattle farms, and tonight another family is facing devastation. Barrett will join us live with that story. But first, Linda Ha is live in Orinoco, where owners of an online auction building are also picking up the pieces. Linda.
Yeah, Caitlin, we spoke with an employee of Orinoco Online Auctions this morning who says he usually gets to the warehouse at about 9, but today he was running a little behind, and because of that, it may have just saved his life. The roof collapsed at about 9:15. Thankfully, no one was inside at the time, but as you can see, the building is heavily damaged with thousands of dollars worth of items inside. Staff tells me it's a total loss, and the rest of the metal building will have to come down. Now, they're doing the best they can to salvage what they can. The good news is they will be able to save a majority of the items. Now, unlike an auction site like eBay, prospective bidders can actually check out the Orinoco items in person before it goes on the virtual block.
We just ended an auction last night. It's all online, but all the contents in there are sold, but we'll dig through it later on and see what we got, secure the building and everything.
Fortunately, the staff moved most of the smaller items like coins out of the warehouse before the big storm hit. It's the bigger items like toolboxes and farm machinery that was inside during the blizzard. We've covered several damaged buildings and collapses. We've seen heavy damage, especially in southeastern Minnesota. But you know what amazes me is the community never fails to step up and help their neighbors. Even now, nearby businesses have offered their store space as temporary space for auction items, and even some people helping with cleanup. Caitlin?
Thanks, Linda. Hoffman Farms is a 6th-generation family-run dairy operation, and now it's forced to make some life-changing decisions. The farm was another victim of the violent blizzard this weekend. NewsCenter's Barrett Leone joins us live west of Chatfield from the Hoffman Farm on this emotional day. Barrett.
Well, Caitlin, I'm standing in front of the 450 cow barn that collapsed in 2 different areas. And I'm going to step to the side so viewers at home can get a better look at the damage that's been done. Now, the spot on the right was the first to go, caving in around midnight Sunday. The second on the left went down at 5:45 this morning, just about 10 minutes after folks had exited the building. Working on cleaning up Sunday's damage, the Hoffmans were in complete disbelief to see another large portion of the barn destroyed, determining that the 8 by 100-foot barn was no longer safe for humans or cows. It was then that the family made the incredibly difficult decision to sell the animals. The Hoffmans tell me that majority of the livestock will go to another dairy farm near Lake City.
It was a lot of emotion. So we've been doing this for 116 years in our family. So I don't know what the future holds. We're lucky. The buyer that took the cows is a good friend of ours, and I know he'll take just as good care of them as what we did.
Corey tells me that the earliest they could get up and running again, if they choose to do so, would be sometime in the fall. So for now, their 9 employees will need to find work elsewhere. Although some of the cows were lost in the collapse, no one was hurt. Reporting live in Chatfield, Barrett Leone, KTTC NewsCenter.
Okay, thanks, Barrett. So we know cleanup continues from the blizzard over the past weekend, and more snow is set to fall throughout this week. Chief Meteorologist Matt Benz joins us live from the weather patio. Matt, it obviously won't be as bad as this previous weekend, but what can folks expect?
Okay, Lynn, looking at slippery roads, and if we add any more snow, perhaps up to a ½ inch to an inch of snow could be enough. That is, could really make those roads slippery here for tonight into tomorrow morning. So here's the current conditions as far as winter road conditions are concerned across southeast Minnesota. Most areas still looking at partial
over the past weekend, and more snow is set to fall throughout this week. Chief Meteorologist Matt Benz joins us live from the weather patio. Matt, it obviously won't be as bad as this previous weekend, but what can folks expect?
Okay. Caitlin, looking at slippery roads, and if we add any more snow, perhaps up to a ½ inch to an inch of snow could be enough that is could really make those roads slippery here for tonight into tomorrow morning. So here's the current conditions as far as winter road conditions are concerned across southeast Minnesota. Most areas still looking at partially to completely covered roadways, and they are in tough shape. A lot of ice compacted down on area roads, and now dealing with some light snow showers here across the region. And this will have some impact on those road conditions heading into tonight with that snow falling on top of that ice. So please take care if you are heading out tonight. We're not talking about a lot of accumulations, but certainly enough to slicken up those roads. Temperatures right now really won't move much for tonight, but still pretty cold, sitting in the single digits right now. Live look from our Lewiston Auto Skycam looking towards downtown. Well, pretty quiet conditions, at least right now, with a few flurries, but again, flurries and light snow showers possible here for the remainder of this evening and tonight. Our high today was 6 degrees, a low of 2 degrees below zero, and so far for the day, a trace of snow. Latest look at your forecast, including a better chance for snow by Friday. Details coming up here in just a bit. Caitlin.
Thanks, Matt. We continue to take note of the damage brought on with this weekend's storm. That damage includes the collapsed canopy at the Masajid Abu Bakr al-Sadiq in downtown Rochester. The entire area has been roped off with caution tape since the weekend, meaning the front entrances to the mosque and library are closed. Female worshipers traditionally only enter through the front and worship upstairs, but due to the inconvenience, they've now set up a separate worship area downstairs. Mosque leaders say they will have the canopy torn down tomorrow. Workers we spoke with said it would be completed within the day. And adding to the list of damaged property is the metal fabricating company Crenlo, as it faces a significant challenge at its Northwest Rochester plant after Sunday's blizzard. Work was canceled again Tuesday at Plant 2 after a partial roof collapse Sunday morning. Rochester firefighters responded to a commercial alarm around 10 a.m. Sunday and were there 4.5 hours. Captain Dave Fitzgerald says a 40 by 40 foot section where two different roof lines come together had given way. The lower part actually collapsed and pulled the side line down under the weight of heavy snow. An opening 35 to 40 feet long was growing when firefighters got there, and water was pouring out of the sprinkler system, which had been compromised. Fitzgerald says the roof area has to be reinforced from underneath before workers can safely get up on top and fix it. And of course, along with structural damage, the blizzard left more than 600 Minnesota drivers stranded. The National Guard has been working to help those drivers, and now we are getting an inside look at a shelter that has been set up by the Guard. NewsCenter's Jacob Murphy has details.
Freeborn and Steele counties were one of the first to request assistance from National Guard soldiers as the blizzard moved in Saturday night. Soldiers combed abandoned highways in a special vehicle, a tank known as a SUSV, picking up motorists in over their head. The National Guard Armory opened up, offering cots, blankets, and food to close to 200 people at the peak of the storm. A few people stayed more than one night, still looking for ways to get back on their feet close to 48 hours later. National Guard captain says he's proud of his troops.
I'm glad they were prepared. They hit the ground. They got the SUSV up and operational. And so as soon as I got that up, they started doing recovery operations. I slept in the floor along with my soldiers for the 2 hours that we got down. But our cots were used up. We gave the cots up, and so we slept on the floor.
Local volunteers came to streamline the process for the stranded, even providing toys and coloring books for the kids. Trinity Lutheran Church opened as a second shelter for travelers in Owatonna. Another National Guard shelter popped up in Albert Lee. Reporting in the studio, Jacob Murphy, KTTC NewsCenter.
Thanks, Jacob. Among those staying in those National Guard shelters, 2 Union Pacific Railroad crews stranded in Freeborn County. They were rescued from the snow drifts when both trains got stuck yesterday morning. When the first train got stuck, Sheriff Kurt Freitag says a second train was sent to give it a nudge, and it too got stuck. Union Pacific spokesperson Kristen South says 9 employees were taken to safety in all. She says the snow has just been cleared away from the trains, and now they're waiting on 2 new crews to arrive. The trains should be on the move by now if all goes well. Still ahead, lawmakers spent today asking why. Why are drug prices so expensive? They took drug makers to task on Capitol Hill.
This is KTTC NewsCenter at 6 with Tom Overley, Caitlin Alexander, Chief Meteorologist Matt Benz, and sports with Pat Lund.
Top pharmaceutical executives are blasted on Capitol Hill today for skyrocketing prescription prices. Senators on the Finance Committee say the high cost of medicines are hurting Americans. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley is leading that committee. He wants to know why prices are going up.
America has a problem with the high cost of prescription medicines, whether it's about EpiPen, insulin, or other prescriptions. In the thousands of letters that I've received, Iowans have made clear that high drug prices are hurting.
I understand the anger.
We're all trying to understand the sticker shock that many drugs generate, especially when some of these drugs have been around for a long, long time.
Each executive testified about wanting to reduce prices in some capacity. Now lawmakers are demanding change. Still ahead, we'll check in on what Tom Overly has been learning about today on assignment in Jacksonville, Florida.
And it's Play the Game. Dodge the snow piles in Rochester today. More snow is back into the forecast. Latest on that forecast after the break.
It's not often high school students are invited into the research side of Mayo Clinic, but that's exactly what happened today. NewsCenter Sarah Gannon went to check out what Mayo Clinic's celebration of research is all about. An exciting day, Sarah.
It certainly was, Caitlin, and local 10th through 12th grade students traded in their backpacks today for lab coats as part of the experience to learn more about biomedical science and research careers. The hope of today's event was to get students excited about pursuing a career on the research side of healthcare.
It's a unique opportunity for students to meet Mayo Clinic researchers and physicians to learn about their work.
In each laboratory, they'll learn something different. Some laboratories will show them an animal that they might study. Others might show them a chemical or a biological system they work on.
Called the Celebration of Research, the event has been going on for 36 years, each time helping shape the young minds of area high schoolers.
Each lab has its own focus that is related in the long run to healthcare, and those teams will explain their work to the students.
It includes demonstrations and even a little hands-on experience, which might help them figure out if a career in these fields is something they want to pursue.
First-hand information and knowledge and experience is what helped them to decide, and I feel that's a great opportunity.
I think the take-home message we're trying to send is that behind healthcare is curiosity, and the future of healthcare is about curious people studying things they find interesting.
The tour included an oncology department lab where some students found inspiration.
For sure, 100%. This is a good starter experience, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, if I come to this and learn something and it spikes my interest, then later when I go to college next year, I'll know that maybe research is the place for me.
The theme this year was Fishing for Cures, which is a reference about a Mayo research project using zebrafish in new treatments for hearing loss. Reporting live in the studio, Sarah Gannon, KTTC NewsCenter.
Thanks, Sarah. And speaking of Mayo Clinic, Tom Overly is digging deeper this week into groundbreaking research happening on the Jacksonville, Florida campus. Today, he shared online a bit about Dr. Joy Wolfram's lab. Her team is working with nanoparticles, transforming the way cancer drugs are brought to tumors.
Dr. Wolfram was recently highlighted from Forbes magazine as someone to watch under the age of 30. She's an amazing woman, and so excited to bring you more on what nanomedicine is all about.
Tom will have special reports airing on KTTC in the coming weeks.
Everyone, I just had to...
Battling the childcare shortage in southern Minnesota. That's the goal for the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation, or SMIF. SMIF has selected 5 communities to participate in a new program called Communities Addressing the Childcare Shortage. The communities are Albert Lea, Austin, City of Eagle Lake, Watonwan County, and the City of Wells. There were more than a dozen applicants from across the foundation's 20-county region. The selection of the 5 communities was based on shortage numbers, community readiness, and core team participation. Each community will work with SMIF for 6 to 18 months to develop individualized action plans to address local child care needs. After completing the program, these communities will be eligible for competitive grants of up to $10,000. Governor Tim Walz has proclaimed tomorrow School Bus Driver Appreciation Day in the state of Minnesota. Today, we're pausing to celebrate the heroic efforts of a Byron bus driver. Mickey Reed was behind the wheel on November 14th when a 5-year-old child was hit by a teenage driver. The driver had ignored the bus stop arm driving through it. The child's leg was caught under the driver's tire. Reed thought quickly, remaining in control of the situation.
It happened so fast, just like, all right, this is not a good situation. What can I do to make this situation better? Hopefully my actions helped. It was a good outcome that he did not directly hit her with the front of his vehicle. Yes, could have been worse.
A news conference is planned in Golden Valley that will include a plea for drivers to obey bus stop arms. Drivers in many Rochester neighborhoods are having trouble seeing over snowbanks. Just look at this. We're on Broadway here, and city crews have piled up the snow in the middle of the street. Overnight, beginning at midnight, they'll use heavy loaders and truck it out of here. When you get into the neighborhoods, the snowbanks are already high where cars have been parked. When the plows do come through, the banks will get even higher. For now, drivers are bumping along the clogged streets, not a very smooth ride. I was heading home last night. I was wondering, do I need to take my car in? Because I was bumping so severely. Of course, it's the roads.
Yeah, it's the roads. And walking around my neighborhood this morning, it's like you're walking through tunnels. It's just amazing how much snow is out there. And we don't need any more snow. And unfortunately, we are talking some more snow, especially by the end of this week. Could see some snow here for tonight. But, of course, the snow drifts, and it's just amazing that we're still recovering from that blizzard a couple days ago. Check this out near Rockdale off of County Road 3 and Minnesota State 30. This drift almost as high as a cab of the snow removal equipment. And shout out to all the folks that have been removing this snow. Tremendous work here. Evan sending this picture in. He had just busted through this big snow drift here. Good job, Evan. And then the snow drift, well, a lot of work to be done here. This is out in Utica. Randy Bushman capturing this giant snow drift out in front of somebody's front yard. And then everybody's thinking this. Think spring out in Eota today. Why not just spray paint that snow? And imagine it's spring. Jackie and her family thought they'd try to cheer some folks up with thinking spring. And I agree, Jackie. If you have any weather photos, please send them in to weather@kttc.com. We're continuing to add up the below zero days. This morning down below zero. That makes today the 26th day now this season with temperatures below zero. And not that many when you compare it to last year. We had 29 days last year, but over the last couple of years, a little bit of a lull. 2016, 17, 2015, 16. Back in 2014 and 15, we had 32 days that were below zero. Now, we will add to our days over the next few days, but what's pretty amazing is most of our days this year, or at least this season, has come since mid-January. That's when all of this snow business started to happen here across southeast Minnesota and northeastern Iowa. Some better news. Roads starting to open up here across the region. There's still more than likely some county roads and side roads that are still closed, and roads are still in tough shape. I'm not going to sugarcoat that at all. Still a lot of blues, pinks on the map indicating partially to completely covered roads. Also some purple on the map indicating travel not advised. The road's still in incredibly tough shape. Part of the reason for that, of course, has been the cold as of late. Live look from our Lewis Auto Skycam looking up Highway 52 with some actual pavement showing up out there. That's some good news, but with air temperatures still in the single digits, salt just doesn't do its normal job like what you'd expect when you see temperatures into the teens and 20s. And unfortunately, we stay cold now for the foreseeable future. And we are dealing with some snow showers out there for tonight. Most of the snow expected here for tonight, forming almost an arc around southeast Minnesota. Most of the accumulating snowfall expected from the Twin Cities back towards central and southeastern Wisconsin here for tonight. Could see some minor snow accumulations our direction, but not expecting more than a half-inch to maybe an inch of snow. Most of the snow falling out towards the Mississippi and east in the Mississippi through tonight and tomorrow morning. Computer models supporting that with most of the heaviest snowfall east in the Mississippi. Most computer models indicating perhaps a half-inch to an inch of snow by tomorrow morning. Take it easy on the roads, though. You get a little bit of that fluffy, light snow on those icy roads could make for a very slippery commute tonight into tomorrow morning. Lows tonight, well, about where we're at right now. Tomorrow, making a run back into the mid-teens, still pretty chilly and breezy for tomorrow. Northwest winds gusting upwards of 20 miles per hour. Temperatures try to rebound Thursday, Friday, but here comes that snow chance on Friday. Snow likely, perhaps a few inches of snow from the system. Not like what we saw here this past weekend, but certainly could be enough to break out the shovel or snowblower once again as temperatures plummet as we progress into this weekend.
And seeing that windy note for Saturday, we're not expecting considerable blowing snow at that, are we?
We'll see how the system winds up. Could see some blowing and drifting snow. Not going to throw that blizzard word out there just yet, but of course some blowing snow possible here for Saturday.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Pat Lund will join us next with a look at sports. It's the busiest week of the year for the winter sports season. Pat will give us a taste of what's to come when we return.
What a week of high school and college sports on tap, beginning tonight with section semifinals in hockey to section quarterfinals in girls basketball, plus RCTC plays their final regular season games as well tonight out at the college. Playing games in Class A boys basketball starts tonight in Wabasha, Lanesboro, and Southland. Tomorrow night, section girls basketball continues in all four classes, including last night's game that were postponed. Plus, the NSIC tournament begins for both Winona State men's and women's basketball teams. The men are on the road at UMD, while the women will host Minot State at 6 o'clock. Thursday, the state wrestling tournament begins with team competition. Southeast Minnesota will be represented by two teams in Class A, Kenyon, Wanamingo, and Goodhue. Section boys basketball really kicks into high gear with 16 games on Thursday night. Section championships in boys hockey will also be decided at the rec center. State swimming also begins. Friday, the individual state wrestling tournament starts at the XL Energy Center. Plus, we'll have Sports Extra. Section girls basketball continues on Saturday, as does the state wrestling championships. The Wild are north of the border tonight, taking on their rivals, the Winnipeg Jets. Minnesota feeling better about themselves, winning 3 straight games and getting younger in the process with the recent trades. Minnesota holds the second wild card spot with 66 points and play 5 of the next 6 on the road. 19 games remain in the regular season, and just like years past, it will be a fight to the end for a spot in the postseason. Minnesota has won all 3 games versus the Jets this year. Face-off is 7-10 on FSN. The Timberwolves are 2 wins shy of the 500 mark following last night's 112-105 victory over Sacramento at Target Center. Minnesota's won 4 of their last 5 games, improving to 29-31 with 22 games remaining in the regular season. Karl Anthony Towns returned to the lineup last night, pumping in 34 points and grabbing 21 rebounds. The Wolves are tied for 10th in the Western Conference with the Los Angeles Lakers. Wolves will be on the road the next 3 games at Atlanta, Indiana, and Washington. Once we get through the state wrestling tournament, then things start to taper back a little bit, but this week will be...
You're pushing through.
It's always interesting. Yeah, we'll plow through it just like everybody has with the snow.
Exactly.
So, yes.
Thank you, Pat. We'll be right back as we go to break. These are the top stories on our website, KTTC.com. There's a new Gerber baby, America, and she beat out more than 500,000 other babies for the honor. The new spokesbaby was introduced on this morning's Today Show after they reminded us what the original Gerber baby looks like. That baby was adopted as Gerber's official trademark back in 1931. The 2019 Gerber baby is 1-year-old Carrie Yang of North Carolina. She and her parents were on the Today Show to introduce her adorable face to millions. More than 544,000 other babies vied for the title of 2019 Gerber baby. Love to see that update every year. They had a really cute one last year, too. Matt, what's going on outside?
Well, a little light snow out there for tonight, and of course with icy roads, watch out for some slick spots. Not expecting a lot of snow, maybe up to a ½ inch to an inch of snow, but not much more than that. We get a break from the snow tomorrow, a few light flurries early in the day on Thursday. Then Friday's our next snowmaker, perhaps a few inches of snow out of that system. Still early, though, to pin down snow amounts, but certainly not looking like what we saw this past weekend.
Yeah, and Pat's got a lot of sports tonight, including hockey.
Can we get rid of the snow?
Yeah.
Can we just get through 3 weeks here?
Yeah.